Welcome to the Nerdentials Podcast, starring your hosts, Joe Tweeden, Matthew Johnson, Jeff Berry, and Paul Roman.
Well, guys, why don't we get the show started here, so we're not going too late into the night. So, on that note, guys, welcome to Nerdentials, the podcast / YouTube episode. That's right, guys. We're in more than one place. Semi.
At the same time.
Semi more than one place at a time. I guess we'll just kick things off. This is episode 6 of our podcast. And I am host number 1, Joe, and to my immediate right, at least at this table,
I am Matt.
And joining us today via video chat, a couple brothers from across the states. Over in the far corner here, we've got Mr. Chris from Geekologist Radio. How's it going, man?
Yeah, far corner is East Coast time, man. So we're recording past midnight.
Super late.
I feel like I should turn into a pumpkin. Nah, it's cool. It's good to be on here. It's awesome. I've obviously, we know you guys really well, and it's a pleasure to be here for sure.
Yeah, we're really glad to have you on today, man. And a new member to our Nerdentials crew, our brother, a few hours south of us in the state of Oregon, Mr. Nick. How's it going, Nick?
Good. Nice to meet y'all.
Good to have you on, man. This should be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. We've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
We have been.
It has been a while. For those of you guys that don't know, we always promote movies, TV, video games, and I always say comic books, or at least in the old episodes I did, and we don't really, we talk about content related from comic books.
Right.
But Nick here is actually going to be kind of the guru comic book dude of our future content. So we're going to talk more about actual comic books. I also heard, Chris, you're a bit more versed in comics than most of the other guys. At least that's what Brandon Fouts tells me.
Yeah, I definitely read comics, and so I don't know. Have you read the new comics that deal with Captain America and turning Hydra? Because I was really pumped about it, but then I saw reviews of the comic series. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Empire. Is it any good? Because the stuff that I've read online it's not great at all. But I'm still so super curious about it.
The artwork is really beautiful. It's nice
Awesome.
and dark, and it's almost from a third-person view that the story's going through. So a lot of your comic book people aren't used to it, but it's really good. It's really good.
Which
Very
cool.
series
was that one again?
That is Secret Empire.
Secret Empire. Nice.
When
And
Captain
to all the
America
comic
turns
book
to the
fans,
dark side.
Right.
happy Free Comic Book Day.
Yes.
Yeah, let's throw that
Yes.
up there, Nick. What's
Yes.
that all about right now? What's going on today about free comic books?
First Saturday of May, nationally is Free Comic Book Day.
Nice.
And all your participating comic book stores will actually let people have 3 free comic books, and all your comic book companies will actually print off stuff specifically for that you can't get anywhere else.
Nice.
Who doesn't like free comic books?
Who doesn't? I mean, if you don't, you should.
Yes.
That's a-
If you call yourself a nerd. No.
If you're watching this or listening to this right now, then you should be checking that out.
Do they do that digitally? Is it a digital thing too, or not?
think-
Is it actual physical
I
stuff?
think they have that.
I think it's
option.
actually
Yeah, it
physical
was-
copies.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all physical. It's to get the new generation up into comic books.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of streaming away from the newer generation, and they started this to try to bring more people in.
Right. Well, and that's also a case with the digital industry versus the brick and mortar,
Yes.
who's been an uphill battle since the tablets and Nooks started coming out, storming the gates, so to speak. Anywhozer, that's good. We'll start having future comic book topics, guys, going forward in our episodes and stuff. But let's segue over into Movie Matters. Alright guys, hey, this is Movie Matters. We don't got a lot in news. We do not particularly, but we do have a few things that some of us have watched that we want to give you guys a little perspective on, maybe encourage you to go check out if you've heard, unpopular reasons not to, for instance. Our first film up in the topic today, only one of us has gone and seen, but that doesn't discount its existence in Hollywood, and I think it gives some good perspective or topic at least to discuss why it's still around. Fate of the Furious, Matthew.
It's still made like over 60 million the first week, so first weekend.
First weekend, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I went and saw it opening weekend. It was kind of like a birthday thing because my birthday was 3 days away from it. And I really enjoyed it just because I enjoy the whole series as a whole.
You've gone and seen every single one though, right?
Yeah, every single one in theater. So it's kind of like a ritual almost, and they always pop up right around my birthday.
It makes it slightly convenient.
Yes. Actually, the last one is actually going to be on my birthday, which is actually really funny. So
now, is it the last one though?
Number 10, yes, is going to be the last one. That's.
Isn't this number 8?
Yes, this is number 8.
Oh man. Okay.
So the premise of the history of it is, it's taking off exactly right where 7 took off from, and they're still doing some international cop things for Hobbs and stuff.
They've steered quite a ways away from it just being a street race thing to this whole Mission Impossible business, right?
Yeah. Which, I mean, I still love the cars. Vin Diesel always has either a Charger or a Challenger, some sort of Mopar, and
it sucks you in. It tickles that interest of yours.
Yes, I love classic cars, and yes, and I do like my some imports too. Like the Nissan GTR 34 is like one of my favorite cars.
It's a sexy car.
It is a sexy car.
Is there reason? You've been following it this whole time, so I want to get your perspective as far as like why we should be checking these out, or why we should be sticking along with it. Because I know some people have fallen off of it, and it doesn't always hit great at all critically, but it still makes the money.
Yeah, it's posting over $2 billion actually right now, globally. But a lot of people have a tendency of falling off from it. Probably about where Nick said he actually lasted off was about number 5. And a lot of that has to do with how poorly 2 and 3 kind of were, like Rotten Tomatoes wise or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then when they picked the series back up, they were like, why are they going back in time? Because the 4th one was actually like a prequel to everything that happened.
See, that's weird. I saw all the way through 5, and I didn't realize they did that time plot.
Yeah.
Tokyo Drift like hides in a corner, doesn't it? Like Tokyo Drift is like all the way in the corner over here, and then it comes right back.
Yeah. Number 6 actually ties in how Tokyo Drift was all in there.
I remember some references. They bring that stuff back in somehow.
Well, it kind of goes from Tokyo Drift to 4 going back to like basically before. Right around where 1 and 2 are, before 2, and then 5 takes off from where 2 was, and that's where Han comes in, essentially, to where that's how Tokyo Drift in the future happens. And so, going forward, they just started getting into the whole being good guy aspect of it instead of being lawless. What the heck was that? That just thumbs up. Okay, I got you. Anyways,
Chris said deal with it. Guys, for those that are hold on real quick. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm losing it right
I saw it
now.
out of the corner of my eye. I was just like, what the hell was that?
Okay, you guys on YouTube are going to see those cues on the screen, and for those that are listening via podcast, we're in a chat room that has these stickers that you can put up on screen. Needless to say, our two other co-hosts for tonight are being mischievous,
Yes.
to say the least.
Big fans.
It's funny.
Big fans.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry, Matt. Go on.
Anyways, so the reason why... No, I'm not mad, bro. Anyways, the reason why I keep following it is because it's based around these group of people that we all have those best friends that we always stick with, no matter what. Kind of like how Nerdentials is, Geekologist Radio. They're brothers. They're family. And if I was in these movies or in this kind of scenario, I would be there for any one of y'all. And
Aww.
where it takes off in 8 is you find out that this is going to be a spoiler if you haven't seen
warning
it.
to anyone.
It's fine.
Dom has a kid.
What?
Yeah. And that is the
Damn.
background into why he betrays everybody.
Speed racing I can see speed racing go-karts happening right now.
Oh man, that's deep.
It's yeah. The action in this movie is really good. There are some unbelievable aspects to it with like the submarine. A lot of people talk about the submarine because it's just like if a submarine came up underneath all these cars, the cars wouldn't be there kind of thing and blah blah blah.
Oh yes,
But
yes. Logic, plot, logic.
Cinematography, I mean, come on now. It looks good.
Half the stuff
And
Michael
Is this
Bay
like
does.
the previous one where where it jumps the building and goes building to building and like
Right.
like that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's yeah, number 7.
Well, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why it's doing so well, is because every movie, bigger,
It's like
better
it's like a
stunts.
Michael Bay film. There's
It's-
more and more
yeah,
devastation with
and-
every film.
And
They went from racing to Michael Bay exploding eyegasm.
kind of, yes.
Is there any sense in this film of the animosity between Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel? Because like that was a huge backstory to this movie.
There, it's funny that you say that.
My muscles are bigger.
One of the parts, and this is where, like, Dom basically betrays everybody. He actually wrecks the Dwayne Johnson and messes him up, and you could tell that there's like tension between them. Like not like so. There is that offset tension that could possibly come through the camera, but I think they're, still somewhat kosher with each other.
Oh, off camera, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
You're a huge fan. Is the Jason Statham like Rock like a potential for this to be an off branch? Like, could you see that happening?
I heard they were trying to do a
I've actually seen
spin-off.
stuff on it.
Nick, you heard something?
I've seen a lot of posts on it that they're trying to do a spin-off on just those two.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's something I haven't heard, but I know that they are in the works of wanting to make a movie together. I don't know if it's going to be a spin-off of this, though.
Never know.
I might have to look more into that because, yeah.
Right.
In this movie, though, they are hilarious together.
That's awesome.
They got
because-
some good comedy in between each
Yes, and the fight scenes, the action, great. I liked it. I give it an 8.5. And I'm more or less kind of biased, I guess, maybe, because I just love the franchise.
slight
But
fanboy score,
at the
perhaps.
same time, like, if you love cars and you love family,
What's
you
not
got-
to love?
Yeah, exactly. What's not to like?
So Matt thinks it's gonna. Okay, so as a whole, where do you see this actually ending, or do you think they're gonna try to milk this past the set number they made?
I don't think they, with the loss of Paul Walker,
Right.
I don't think that they want to make it past what it
What it was. Okay.
If Paul Walker was still alive,
They
I could
might
see
have.
that, but more or less, I see 10 being just a nice
send off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody.
This was resuscitated by the fact that The Rock is a beast right now. Like, the fact that Dwayne Johnson is so big, that resuscitated this entire franchise. If he were to walk away from this thing at any point, forget about it. Like, nobody cares about Vin Diesel, at least in my opinion. Like, they would just be like, okay, it's Fast and Furious. It would end up being like Tokyo Drift or whatever the earlier ones were. The fact that Dwayne Johnson's in it really kind of gives this a lot of pub.
Right.
At least from what I see.
Well, we've even talked about that in our last couple episodes, especially with his future in, quotation marks, if DC movies move forward successfully, he does have a future there. You know what I mean? With Black Adam, we talked about that in a previous episode, but Dwayne Johnson also, and the delay for that filming is, if you guys didn't hear our last episode, he's got 3-4 films slated for this next year right now. So he's
Rampage, Jumanji.
He's huge, huh?
Rampage, Jumanji.
Yep. Jumanji.
We're talking.
Okay,
that's one I didn't list off in his.
Jumanji looks hilarious, by the way. I was watching Kevin Hart
Karen Gillan.
live on Facebook, and they were talking about it, and it looks freaking hilarious because they actually had a clip on.
Yeah, hold on. So he's cast as a minor role or something in Jumanji, or what?
No, he's the lead on Jumanji.
What?
He is Robin Williams.
Oh, I'm slightly embarrassed because I listed off like 4 films that I knew for sure he was going to be in. I did not know that one. Okay.
He's gonna turn a shitty Baywatch. Oh, sorry, I'm dead being cursed. A crappy Baywatch.
You're fine, dude. You're fine.
Into like a huge thing, and nobody's gonna care. Like, seriously, this thing's gonna do $100 million at the box office. It's terrible. Like,
we were talking about that.
We did that trailer episode.
So
we talked about Baywatch on our 3rd episode of our podcast. Yeah,
Baywatch looks hilarious. Both Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson,
Zac Efron.
and Zac Efron.
There's
Zac
comedy.
Efron has become like a comedy genius, I think.
seriously,
Like, and he,
Because no one expects
they
it.
both freaking are just.
They bounce off each other great. So.
Yes.
His comedy almost reminds me of like the newer version of Franco. His style of comedy.
Yeah, I can see that.
it's a good call.
Because they try to do that pretty boy thing, but then out of nowhere, just off the wall bullshit. It's good.
Like Neighbors.
He's totally made himself relevant, like, because like after all of the crap where he like went downhill for a second, like he's made himself relevant again, which is like really cool. So,
Anyone have anything else they wanted to say about that franchise at all?
Well, the only thing I had to say about the franchise is the whole fact that the bigger and better stunts is the reason why it's going up, and the other big thing is they're adding bigger and bigger names. Mm-hmm. Like Jason Statham, The Rock, Charlize Theron. All these names just add more weight to the show.
Right.
Even though I haven't watched them, I can see why they're doing better.
And
if they're going towards an ending too, like a 9 or a 10, it's gonna even ramp up even farther because people are gonna want to hop on at the tail end because they'll want to have those cameos. So I agree. It's gonna be almost like Expendables, where it's like, okay, who can we get?
Mm-hmm. And honestly, the only reason why I stopped watching them is because, okay, I caught up on this one. There's 2 more that just came out. Okay, now I gotta catch up on those. I'm just waiting until the end, then I'm gonna watch all of them.
Just binge watch them if you're that interested. Yeah, right. Matthew, you're a fan.
It's
It's
a
all
ritual.
right.
It's all good.
It's all right. Everyone has their things.
I don't know. Classic car connoisseur, I guess. I don't know.
I heard this one got back to a little bit more of the car theme, so like that's actually kind of cool.
That's a good reason.
It went from Mission Impossible to like back to cars.
Well,
which is a good thing.
There was a scene in this movie where Charlize Theron plays a hacker, and you know all those smart cars that have the ability to like automatically start when you're not in the car or whatever.
Yeah, push start. Mm-hmm.
They hack all the computers for those cars.
Oh, jeez.
And you get this freaking hundreds, thousands of cars just freaking driving by themselves down this road.
Awesome.
And it's just mayhem. It's awesome.
I don't know if you heard our last cast, but I have a kid that I work with on a regular basis that's really super duper into cars, and he was like, there's things that are awesome about Fast and the Furious is it has cars. The things that aren't so awesome are the fact that there are no hot girls and there are no 20-year-olds that have those type of cars. So
Yeah, I caught that on the chat. Yeah, you were.
It was like, this is a really good, because he's souped up. Like, his vehicle that comes in is not like your standard vehicle. He knows everything outside and in on this car, and he street races cars. So he was just like, that's not how it is. He's like, it's a bunch of ugly girls. and it's a bunch of dudes in like really crappy cars that have like a couple of souped up engines. You know, that's how it is. So I just thought it was interesting.
Right. Yeah. No, there's definitely a Hollywood polish to that franchise.
Aspect, yes.
I remember someone trying to race a little blue Ford Festiva.
I don't want to talk about that.
Stirred up past.
Do you think Paul's Walker's death graced them into this episode for people to like be interested in this next movie, like the one that's out now? Like, do you think that kind of graced them at least one more movie where people were like, okay, we're gonna follow this because they did this right, we're gonna watch,
and they want to see how they get Paul Walker out, kind of thing. Yeah. In the end of 7, the complete ending for that movie was actually all added after the fact of his death
with his brother, right?
And
I haven't seen that footage yet. Yeah,
that's why you see a lot of back of heads.
Well, yeah, and then why you see a computer generated Paul Walker driving next to Dom at the very end.
Oh snap! Yeah.
You get a kind of like a little backstory saying we're not going to get him in this. We're not going to get Brian into this at all. We're not calling him. And everyone's just like, but we need him because he can figure this out and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you're kind of like just...
Yes and no.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
Kind of like the whole cut the cord figured out thing.
Yeah. However...
Do we remember how Surfer Boy he was in that first movie? For the fact he could figure it out. He's like, bro, what's up, bro? Like...
Yeah.
Total white boy.
He was just, he was definitely a California surfer, just like...
Jeans way too tight.
We're doing this. Yeah. All right. You wanted a 10-second car. I'll get you a 10-second
You never
car.
had me. You never had your car.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
Yeah.
Did you have a final thought, Matt? Are you ready to move on here? Go on.
Rumors have it said that his brothers both might actually be in the movies 9 and 10. One might actually play him as like a final send-off kind of a thing. But that's a rumor. I don't know if that's true or not, but
that's like leave it alone. Come on.
Yeah, I think
that's like a Leia thing. That's like a Princess Leia thing. Just
Right.
Don't touch it. Done. Don't. Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that at the end of
I
Rogue
agree.
One,
You and I are on the same page. Yep.
they should have not touched it. Anyways,
Well, guys, let's shift over to the next film in our lineup for tonight. Fresh out of the box office, literally.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Dang, way to drop it, Matt. That's right where I was going, but thank you.
Hey, you're clearing your throat out.
You're right. You're good. I'm just kidding, dude. I ain't that control freak.
So he says.
Anyway,
He beats me. Don't worry. Does it? Oh.
There is no domestic violence over here. Do not call anyone. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, guys. Literally dropped this week. Not everyone's gotten to see it. A couple of us have.
I have not.
I haven't.
Nerdgasm.
But I know a lot, so probably more as much as I know, like to watch the show or the movie. So
Yeah, I'm right there with
not a
you
good
guys.
thing.
So there's at least half our table tonight. Can speak
Have you seen
on
it, Joe?
thoughts and feelings, huh?
Have you seen it?
No. So literally, Nick, you're the only one that's watched it 100% through on tonight's show. You're fine, which is okay. Because I basically wanted to get from you your general thoughts and feelings on the kind of spoiler free. Guys go see it, guys don't see it, or meh, whatever. I think all of us are gonna go see it anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Nick, you have the floor for the next few minutes. Give us your thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, start out with it. It was great. Yes. I wouldn't say it wasn't as original as the first one because you already got introduced to everyone and that whole camaraderie that they already have. But they compounded on that and kept that whole feel throughout the whole show, the whole movie. You got a little bit more in depth on some characters you didn't before, which is nice. Some of the casting choices for some of the newer characters they added in, great. Kurt Russell, you can't go wrong with him.
Right.
Gotta love Kurt Russell.
Major or minor part in this? Like, was it like really slim, or was he throughout the entire movie?
Throughout.
Nice. So he's kind of got an even keel in the plot.
Yeah. And you saw that Sylvester Stallone was in there. They threw another thing with big names going into a movie. They kind of had to do it to bring some weight to the characters they're putting in there. A lot of really cool Easter eggs. Watch out for them. They're great. Do not leave until after the credits are done. Like when I say done, wait for it to go black and the lights to come back on in the theater.
Done.
Yes. There's like 5 after credits.
They posted this online because they wanted to make sure they were seen by the public. But yeah, they stated before the movie came out, guys, wait, there's 5 scenes. Yeah.
And there's a few in there that you desperately need to see because it points in the direction they're going, which is really great. The whole feel of the movie wasn't as, I don't know how to describe it. They kept the humor, which was great, and it's what you expected and what you wanted to see from each of the characters. And Baby Groot steals the show, the whole movie.
He steals the trailers, man. I'm just saying that right now.
Well,
of course,
like in
the music,
movie,
the score.
Kind of like Rocket would be sitting there like explaining like how to get this thing, and all of a sudden you see him Groot in the background just doing what he was saying.
Right.
In this for you, can you see them where they're starting to branch out a little bit with Rocket and Groot, where you can eventually see them? Because there's talk of them branching out.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more one-on-one time with those two, which is nice. And how they're portraying Groot is kind of hilarious where they're going with it. So
very cool.
Nice.
Could this be a standalone film? Like, could this be by itself where if it didn't go in the MCU and you could watch this movie and kind of get an idea of, like, this didn't have to deal with...
Honestly, I'd prefer it if they did.
Okay.
But they are going to tie it in. But, because they broke the mold when they made the original Guardians of the Galaxy. And it kind of set the tone for all the other Marvel movies. And they're all trying to play catch-up. But it could completely stand alone on its own.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think this one did just a little bit worse than the first one.
It did a little under, and like we did our predictions on our podcast episode 3, where we kind of gave our opinions. I overshot.
I think I did too. I think.
I don't know. You were more close to the truth. You said.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You were thinking it won't go below 75, but I think it's actually gonna drop quite a bit. Paul was a little surprised by your thoughts on that, and I of course shocked everyone by saying, "Oh, I don't think it's gonna do less than 95." I know, I'm embarrassed. I'm not gonna say it right now, guys.
It's all good.
Well, here's the thing: if it was the original, if that was the original and it started from there, it would have had the same ratings. It's the complete freaking.
It was that diamond
shock
in the
and awe
rough
that people weren't expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
For this series, Gunn is set at such a high level after 1 that whatever 2 was going to be at, it wouldn't matter. It was never going to reach 1 again. So, like, I feel like people's expectation level for whatever this is, and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this movie where, you know, it's not quite 1, it's okay. Well, it's okay for your expectation level of being introduced to these characters for the first one.
Absolutely.
But if this, to your point, if this was the first one, people would have been like, wow, this is amazing. This is way better than Thor. This is way better than any of the
It probably would
originals
have been like that
started out,
90-95 that...
Possibly.
easily.
For me, just watching it, I liked it better than the first one because they actually went a little bit more in depth on the characters.
Well,
I like a plot.
See, and that's why I liked the second freaking Captain America more than I liked the first one.
Oh, same here, actually, honestly. And, I mean, the first one was great, too, but the second one was more fleshed out. There was... Anyway, that's a different movie, but... actually, yeah, this one, according to critic reviews, got 81%. And I think that's only a few percentages lower than the first film. And that's actually still missing like 100 reviews. That's based on like 240 reviews right now. It's at 81%. And the first movie did, I think, closer to 85 or just above.
I think it did 87%, I think.
Yeah,
I think if I remember.
Yeah, that sounds right. So it didn't dip much, so it still held its own ground, but absolutely, you're right, Nick, as far as... It's because it was the second go-around, so it wasn't a fresh idea in that sense, and I think that's what kind of laid the groundwork for expectation, like you said, Chris.
Well, I think after expectations settle and people go back and watch it, after not holding those expectations, people are going to think it's better than the first one.
I think that's why people who watch it twice, because there's a lot of people who are like, you have to watch it a second time, catch all of the minor stuff in it.
Right.
And the people who don't want to have to deal with all of the sequel, or the original stuff, where you don't want to have to deal with the background. Like, I don't like to deal with the background stuff. Just give me all these guys in the second film where I already know what the background is, and then give me the story. And that stuff is more, I think, to me, is more interesting.
I kind of did that with Transformers 2. The second Transformers.
second
I
one.
actually saw it 2 or 3 times because I was just like, all right, what am I missing here that should have, like, should be in the first one or whatever, and should be carrying it better than what it should be right now.
Right, and as I've been sitting here, I've been trying to formulate some questions to ask you, Nick, that don't, like, rip open the plot exactly. But,
Yes, hilarious. I fell out of my seat twice laughing so hard.
well, that's
Okay,
good
that's
that
a
the
good
comedy's there. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What I was...
And there's going to be lines in here you're going to hear for the next 10 years because they're just so catchy.
Okay.
Name
It's
2 of them.
Come on now.
You've probably seen the meme. I'm Mary Poppins, yo.
Okay, let's not ruin it for everyone. I haven't seen it yet. Let's not ruin all
Are
the
all of
comical
these
moments.
involving Rocket Raccoon too? Like, is most
No.
of them? No.
No.
All right, that's good.
The other person that steals the show is someone you're not going to expect.
Okay, leave it at that, because I want the surprise. So, this movie literally came out days ago, a couple days. The only thing I wanted to ask...
Watch it.
was, Nick, based on what you saw, I want to get a perspective on, like, how much did this film connect to what's coming next, which we all know, who anyone that's watched the MCU knows, Infinity Wars, right, is coming up.
Yeah.
So how connected does Guardians of the Galaxy, what's the percentage of Easter eggs or actual connections do you feel that this movie makes to what's coming next? Spoiler free, just like a percentage feeling.
Minimal spoilers.
There was little hints here and there,
Okay.
but one of the Easter eggs is the big one that actually ties it in.
What was that?
There's one big Easter egg.
There's one big...
I
okay.
said there's little hints here and there, but the big Easter egg, like, is one of the ones that ties it in.
Okay.
But throughout, like I said earlier, it could stand by itself.
Right, so that just shows you it's
Right.
peppered in just enough so people that have been following it will make the connections, but someone who's new to it might not have any clue because it's good enough on its own.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
How much in this has Yondu moved forward in this movie? Because Michael Rooker's character was such a prevalent character in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and it was like one of those characters that like could have been a throwaway, and then all of a sudden was like, ooh, that guy's, I like him.
Ooh, the whistle.
He's actually my favorite character in the Guardians
Prepare to
of the
like him more.
Nick just said prepare to like him more. I like that. Okay.
No, they definitely fill him out more. And the whole show, the whole movie, does a really good thing of making you care more deeply for each of the characters.
That's awesome.
good.
Each and every one of them.
Nice. I'm so excited. I'm going to find some free time to go, even if I have to go by myself, to go see that.
I'll go with you.
All right. It's a
I'll
date.
go.
It's a date, Matthew.
Mandate.
Chris, get on that crap.
I will.
All right, guys. Last little thing, Movie Matters. Not too much to say about it yet, probably, unless you're a fan of the book and author, which Matt here is a huge Stephen King fan, based on his last reviews of the It trailer from previous episode. But
I'm still not going to watch that movie. Not shut your mouth.
Matt, I'm going to drag you to watch it. You're going to come with me.
Guys, spoiler warning, skip ahead 5-10 minutes. I put in the show notes of when these topics get brought up. So if you haven't seen Dark Towers, the trailer, go watch it now, pause this podcast or video, and we'll wait.
Not really.
Welcome back. I'm not going to be the dick. I'm not going to be that dick. It's only a 2-minute trailer.
It is a 2-minute trailer.
It's a decent trailer, actually.
And you get a lot from the trailer, actually.
You really do, and I've never read the book. Have you checked out the book yet?
Yes.
Anyone else? Chris? Nick?
No, I talked to Cajun, and this is a 8-book series, 10-book series, somewhere around there.
It's a huge series.
Stephen King called it his opus, like this.
Yeah, it's his epic. It's great.
It's his manifesto.
Nice. Well,
but
go ahead.
I was gonna say, but this Dark Tower is the second to last book in the series that he has out so far. So this is not even the beginning. So they have a ton of space to do all these prequels to this.
Exactly.
Oh man, are they gonna pull? I apologize if I get this wrong. A Tarantino card, or where they give you the juice here, and then like, all right, let's backtrack real quick. You know,
I think they're testing the waters of this is the best story of the series, and let's see if people are interested, and then we can kind of backtrack it a little bit if we want to.
With the director that's on it, I honestly think they're going to go into the movie and do what everyone's doing right now: flashbacks.
Awesome.
Okay. Real quick, let's lay out the quick details, and Nick and Matt probably know more about this than most of us, so we'll let them talk about the content of it. Coming out August 4th of this year, guys, 2017, so look forward to that, starring Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey. And in the trailer, that I'm going to just say right now, I like him in this role. It's based on the novel by Stephen King, and that's about as much as I personally know. I watched the trailer, it looks sick. Guys with the knowledge, Nick and Matt, one of you guys go, I don't care which.
You go first, Nick.
Go ahead, Nick.
You're the guest.
Well, Matt said it before in other things with Stephen King. He does a very good job of painting a picture of his own world. And this is a world completely out of his mind. It's not set in anything that he's normally done.
Maine. There's no Maine.
Yeah, it's dark, gritty, think.
He's basically in a
crazy western.
Yeah, he's out of basically in his own realm, doing when he made this whole series, he was in basically the darkest part of his brain, and this series was what he wanted to do from the beginning. Let's see, what's book number 1? I can't remember.
Gunslinger.
Yeah. Gunslinger is probably the hugest backstory you'll get from the whole series. And then everything else past that is just straight up dark terror. And this book particularly, I would agree with what Chris said, is pretty much the best drawn out, and as far as vivid pictures goes, this is probably the best one. Because everything else before this is pretty much more like backstory, baseline, and then it goes to
his Stephen King's filler work in his novels, basically.
But they're all dark, gritty, and perfect.
Well, in the book, the despair, the darkness and stuff, it almost reminds me of some of his earlier work, like The Stand.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get that, gut-wrenching, oh, crap, what's going on? And it's going to be cool how they portray that in the movie.
Yeah,
I love the fact that this is a film, but like this would have been perfect for Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Because you could have filled the backstory of everything that you're talking about in a Netflix first season, second season, and then like you didn't have to do each one of these books as a full season, but you could have backstoried the whole thing.
Right. Yes. If Netflix was smart, they might pick up the prequels to all this.
I was going to say, to be fair, on a side note that's really unrelated to all our topics, they've burned through $2 billion in original series right now.
True, but still, like it's more or less like.
But no, you're right. Yes, to be fair, it would be a smart move to do.
But like they've blown through a shit ton of cash, like a ton.
I read that article. I don't know if
they're not making money; they're losing money, like at a bad rate, like right now.
Yeah, they have hundreds of millions to recoup right now. Exactly.
You're gonna see that as an increase in Netflix costs soon. Like it's gonna go to whoever is paying for it. It's gonna go, the price is gonna increase.
They're gonna find it somewhere.
Yep.
And I don't see where else to your point, Chris. I don't see where else they're gonna get it from without putting an extra $1 or $2 on that subscription. You know.
Well, they'll throw something in like Hulu does with that whole live thing, and they'll throw in like $15, and then you throw this in, and blah blah blah, and then you get it.
You know, I'd be surprised if Netflix doesn't. This is a tangent slightly, but I'd be surprised if they don't do a live TV service at some point, because YouTube's on board, Hulu's on board. That's kind of better saved for TV Talk next, but
yep,
it's an interesting.
Well, the other place where they're going to make it up is they've made Netflix exclusive deals, like with CW. Yep. That was a big one.
Yep.
Right. And they did do one with Disney/Marvel, but we've been seeing really slow bleed into seeing that content. They said it like last year that it was happening, and we've seen stuff, but it's been really slow.
It has been.
Well, you're gonna see like Punisher and Defenders coming up really quickly. They'll both be like in succession of each other.
Oh, okay.
Kind of space that out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of that money that they've blown through. They're already filming that stuff.
I don't.
So they're front loading the money. Yeah, to your point, Nick.
I just don't like who they casted as Punisher.
Real quick,
but that's just another thing.
We're going off on a slight tangent. Let's pull it back to Dark Tower.
Sorry.
No, you guys are all fine. This is good content. I'm not gonna edit this around, but we can touch back on that for TV Talk. But finishing thoughts, guys. You, Nick, the Dark Tower. The trailer was sick.
Yeah.
How about the slow motion reloads on that revolver of his, Idris Elba? Oh my god. What was the final line? Can anyone quote it? I don't shoot with my gun, or I don't kill with my gun. I kill with my heart. Was the closing line. I was like, oh.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh, because the final scene in that trailer, he shoots through multiple buildings, materials, and then nails a guy that's dragging this kid. Yeah. I'm like, oh! Right as he's narrating that line, I kill with my heart. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
No, and whatever filter they're using on that camera, it makes it that much grittier. Just the feel of the whole cinematography on it.
And it's an evil boss. Nobody can hate Matthew McConaughey more than myself. So like, I'm super happy.
He delivers in that trailer at least.
He's got some acting chops though.
McConaughey as an actor, or
just in anything general? Like in general.
You're one of those guys. Okay. My wife
when he actually acts, there's good things, but there's not many movies you can watch that he doesn't take his shirt off, and that's kind of his thing, and that kind of makes me not like him.
Where he takes his shirt off and plays the bongos? No.
I understand where you're coming from.
No, fair point.
Do you like the freshman? Oh wait, what? No shit. Anyways,
they keep older. I keep getting the stage.
So who at the table is going to go see this in the first couple weeks it comes out?
I'm going to probably see it like opening night.
My hand's going up.
I won't see
it,
but this is far different than what it is.
Oh yes,
that's in August. I might have to plan out a trip.
To be fair, listeners, if you go listen to our episode 3, Matt doesn't want to go see it because he thinks it's going to be crap. Matt doesn't want to go see it because he's going to be scared shitless because it is too authentic and dark to the book that he shits himself on anyway. Just making that clear.
This is more to the book than what the series was, and I will stick with that.
this actually felt like a movie that Stephen King was proud of, which it hasn't been something that I've heard him say in a long time, and I've seen him in a few interviews on this, and he was actually boasting about it. So like that has me excited about it.
Right. On a side note, his original version of it, he used to, in the past, Stephen King used to be like, yeah, this is cool. You want to change it? And I don't think he was ever upset about it, at least in recorded interviews. I never heard him be upset about the way they end movies being different from him. No. He actually was perfectly fine with the way they changed the endings for some of his books. Because it's something you don't see, and it's something his readers can maybe see that's different from what they read.
Yes.
As a side note to that. But, anyway, I think we're all excited about that, guys. Let's shift over to our next topic for the night. Let's do a little bit of TV talk. we're on television right now.
TV talk.
There's not a huge amount of news, but with bringing on Nick onto the show, I figured he's got a lot of comic book knowledge. He knows about a few obscure things out there, and one, because of talking with him in conversations off this podcast and YouTube, he's got me excited to go check this out more than I was maybe before, and with other shows. So we're gonna plug him literally into some of these topics in the future going forward. That being said, I'll give you just a brief stat rundown of the show we're going to talk about real quick. Coming to ABC, the first 2 episodes of this show, it's a Marvel series, The Inhumans. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but I think both first two episodes are coming to IMAX.
First 2 episodes are going to be in IMAX.
First 2 episodes are going to be IMAX.
And I didn't have much more than that, so I'm going to kind of just dump the mic over to you and give us a rundown of when this show's coming out, and maybe summary of who the characters are that we can expect to see.
Okay.
He put him on the spot, so he's kind of nervous.
Yeah, sorry. Chris,
I'm looking over my notes.
On a side note, Nick has like a 3-page notes on this show and the comic book history of these characters. So that's why...
That's actually really cool.
That's cool. I'm letting him tackle these characters. Do you know much about the Inhumans outside of this show coming? Perfect. We're all going to learn a little bit from Nick.
Well, originally, Inhumans was slated for a Phase 3 Marvel movie. Full-length movie.
Right.
But with other movies they plugged in there, it was one of the ones that was bumped.
Right.
But there was people that just could not see it be dropped. You actually learn a little bit about the Inhumans in Marvel Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think Season 2.
You get them halfway in.
They kind of go into on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's another group of superheroes. Inhumans are actually another race of humans that are actually bred with through Kree experimentation during the Kree Skrull War.
Those are intergalactic alien races, and that are referenced in Guardians of the Galaxy as a side note, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You actually, in Season 2 of Marvel Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s, there's the guy that comes down to hunt all the Inhumans and starts killing them.
Episode 7.
And they got to fight him off. That's a Kree right there. They're usually the blue-skinned.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Ones.
Okay.
So. But yeah, it was originally slated for TV, but then for a movie, but then they were able to bring it back to TV, so it was actually able to stay alive. You want to run down of characters and stuff?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you can basically give us a quick summary, Nick, of the royal family of the Inhumans, what the show's going to focus on, and a little bit of
the whole group. Sure. Go ahead.
No, sorry. And maybe just a quick summary of kind of their main powers that they're known for.
Yeah. The whole premise of the show is that the royal family, like you said, all the main characters in the show are going to be the royal family of the land of Attilan, which is where the Inhumans are from. The main character...
Where's that? Where's Attilan
people have heard of.
Exactly. It's not on Earth, right?
No. Attilan was originally on Earth, but it was later moved to the moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, man.
But after a big military coup, the Inhuman royal family must run and escape, and they end up going and spending most of their time in Hawaii, where they're trying to find their way back to save the Earth and save themselves. Because all the power and everything, they're a very technologically advanced group of people.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. We're laughing because Chris's screen got blurry and then it refocused. You're fine, dude.
Oh, I saw the look on Matt's face. I'm like, what did I say?
I don't know. It went into like a foggy mode, like you put your hand up close or something, and so it went out of focus. But you're sharp now.
This?
Sorry, dude.
Yeah. Right.
You're fine.
Yeah, I had to turn off my autofocus on mine because mine was doing that.
We've never seen that before.
But
sorry.
Anyways, go back to
the royal family.
Yeah. And your main character in the royal family, the king, is Black Bolt. Black Bolt's going to be played by Anson Mount. Most known for Hell on Wheels, Straw Dogs. He was the bad guy in Nonstop.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I know you're talking about. Yes.
More or less.
Yeah. He's the king of Attilan. I'm trying to remember if that's pronounced correctly. But his power is very unique. His voice is his power. Because the power of his voice is so crazy, he has voluntarily become mute. Which is going to be interesting for them how they're going to write this in the show.
Right, because I heard with a single whisper,
he's not going to talk.
He can create seismic activity, right?
It's a subsonic frequency that can destroy whole towns, destroy mountain ranges with just the slightest whisper. He's had to, over his whole life, learn to control that so vehemently that he doesn't make sounds in his sleep, like extreme pain reaction.
Burping,
he's got to control those sounds.
Right.
Anything.
I can see them doing kind of like a...
I think Nick will probably get to this point, but I also read they'll probably do, because one of his abilities, sorry to jump ahead, but telepathy, he communicates with his wife, often Medusa, with his thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yes. He has a slight telepathic connection with some of the people in the royal family, and they've been around him for so long they can kind of understand what he's wanting through body language and stuff like that.
So they might do like a voiceover,
ESL
thought
or something.
narrative.
They might do a voiceover, and they might, because he's the main character, have the story go. I don't know if they're going to do a narration on the back end of it, like during his parts.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be very interesting how they go with that. And you're talking about his wife, Medusa.
Yeah.
Medusa is a very interesting power. Her power is she controls her hair.
Yeah.
Sounds weird, yes.
Yeah.
But her hair, each individual strand has the tensile strength of steel. And she has complete control over it, where she can go anywhere from using it to pick locks to using it to pick a big giant iron girder off the ground and throw it.
Yeah.
Right, it's like 1,000 strands of tentacles that she can individually maneuver with her mind, basically.
Right.
Exactly.
It sounds kind of like Mortal Kombat almost.
Yeah, you're talking about Katana's mother.
Siren.
But yes.
Or something in the vein of anime or manga.
Yes.
And she is going to be played by Serinda Swan. She's the main female lead in Breakout Kings. She's the main officer in Graceland. And Joe, as a Smallville buff, she was Zatanna.
Yeah, I saw her face and I'm like, oh man, that's been a minute, like a decade of a minute since I've seen that.
There's other people in the royal family. One of the big ones is going to be Maximus, and that is the king's little brother. Going to be played by Ewan Rayon from Misfits, Game of Thrones. You might know him.
What's his
oh wait, what was that? Oh, was that asshole that everyone hates?
Very smug, yes.
Oh no! Remember he would chopped off what's his name's PP.
That's legit. Anybody on Game of Thrones.
I was gonna say yeah.
No.
I don't watch it, so I don't know Game of Thrones.
No, Chris. He was a bastard child. I was trying to get back in with his adoptive father, and he cut off the dick of that one character.
Oh, yeah.
Super big asshole. Oh, he was in the Battle of the Bastards in the most recent season. Nice. Yes, he was that guy. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
And like I said, he's his brother. His power's a little bit different. He's very, very smart, like genius level intellect. That's also improved because of his inhuman
abilities,
tendencies. He's a really great inventor. He makes really cool gadgets and uses those. But he also has some very unique mental powers. He can plant suggestions in people's minds, and small amount of mind control, but he's got to concentrate on a single individual person. And he's also been known in the comic books to leave implanted thoughts and actions in people's mind, and when they hear a trigger word, they go off and accomplish what they're supposed to.
Kind of like a vampire's compulsion, little bit.
Yeah. Or if you've seen, have you ever played Bioshock?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The main character was compulsion to do what he did throughout the whole game.
Right. Spoiler warning for anyone that hasn't played the Bioshock series.
That's an old game.
Anniversary edition's out. I know.
How does ABC make this relevant to Netflix? Because in order for this to be popular or even be on the radar, they have to have this edgy enough that people are going to want to watch it, but not so edgy that ABC can actually show it at the time slot that they're going to try to show it.
This is going to be directly tied in with the MCU.
Okay.
They are actually almost trying to get this pushed out fast enough that they could tie this into Infinity Wars.
With these characters being in Infinity Wars?
Mm-hmm. They want to try to actually push that because they've struggled a lot with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. In other series, so they're actually really trying to still do this.
Yep, that's why it's through. If it was just Netflix, it would be a little bit harder. But Feig has actually just come out and said that most of the Netflix stuff they're trying to push into back in the universe now because so many people are asking for it.
Well, yeah, because like some of those characters, like Iron Fist, they're iconic.
Mm-hmm.
But they're so tied into so many of the different groups that it won't be so hard to actually tie them into the MCU, because in the comic books they have a lot of outings with the Avengers. They have a lot of outings with the X-Men. They have a lot of outings with the Fantastic Four.
I know, it's those damn Fox licenses, man, that we can't do more. But yeah, there's a lot of comic connections with those guys.
I was going to say, I remember some of these names from X-Men.
A lot of them are associated with Fantastic Four, too, which is, like, frustrating.
If you're a person within Inhumans, though, you have to have a careful dance, because you don't want to be anywhere near the Fantastic Four, because those are toxic. That's toxic. If you come out with anything close to them, nobody's going to watch. If you're near the Avengers, people will care. If you're in the MCU on TV, if it doesn't... Netflix is still trying to figure out how to get those folks into the MCU where people care about them.
Do we know what the time slot is for this? Is it supposed to be 8 o'clock?
Yeah. Or do we have a specific date, or is it just 2018 right now?
There was a date.
For
I'm trying to remember where I put it on there for you. I know for the IMAX.
IMAX had a specific release date, actually, yeah.
And it was supposed to be 3 weeks after that for the TV release.
I'm also curious if the IMAX thing is going to last that full 3 weeks up until the initial release, or if it's going to cut like a full weekend and that's it. And then if you went and saw it, that's great. And if you didn't, you got to wait until it releases on TV.
Mm-hmm. Or if those episodes actually air on TV. That would...
I think they're doing that. They would... It'd be kind of foolish for them not to, because not everyone's going to pay to go to the IMAX.
I would.
Yeah, the IMAX releases in September 26 of 2017.
Okay, so this fall.
So this fall they're trying to...
Yeah. It's coming out. Okay.
And it'll go with regular fall showings on ABC.
Interesting.
So that hit September with everybody, I would guess.
Yeah.
I wonder... I'm just thinking, like... Because I wonder what day they're going to pick for this.
It's just it's kind of fun that the fact that the Inhumans are going to try to make their way into the MCU, but they're not going to bother with Daredevil and with Iron Fist and any of the characters from Netflix and make those go into the MCU.
Well, that's what I was saying. Feig had just said recently that he's going to try to push them in it, and they're trying to get them into the MCU. Well, one of the big ties-ins and one of the most known characters from Inhumans is Crystal and her dog Lockjaw.
Okay, why?
Crystal is Medusa's little sister. She has complete control over all the elements on a molecular level, where she can move stuff. She's young, excited about everything, hopefully optimistic, and that's where you get a lot of the original tie-ins, because she leaves the Inhumans and goes into the world, and she dates the Human Torch.
I was going to say,
actually eventually ends up marrying Quicksilver.
Yeah, more wonderful licensing issues for that character to actually do any of that in the show, so I'm curious what they'll do with her in context of the MCU.
Sorry, that's a side tangent.
And Lockjaw is a gigantic bulldog that teleports.
It's always cool to throw that little thing in there.
That's going to be a lot of CG for that. The director for the show is not the director. The person who's the showrunner is Scott Buck.
Say that again, sorry.
Scott Buck.
Okay.
And he was the actual one that did the stuff for Iron Fist.
I was going to say.
He's the executive producer.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope that...
Yeah. So he was the one who had all the crappy fighting.
Hey, I don't think there's any martial artists in... No, that's fair.
There is martial artists in the Inhumans.
Oh, jeez. All right, well, Chris...
You will actually see the blind monk from... from
Star Wars Force Awakens, the blind monk, yep.
Is going to be in there.
So hopefully they have a script prior to the day before they're supposed to actually... Or the day of, they're actually supposed to do it. Yeah.
It's been delayed so long.
But they got a lot of big names in it.
If you guys don't mind, Nick, did you have any concluding thoughts, or are we cool to just hard cut segue to gaming?
There was actually one of the big things a lot of people are worried about, because they did release some screenshots of it.
Right.
Yeah. The costumes, the look of all the people.
I put this in the notes.
Yeah. They a lot of people are saying they look like third-rate Halloween costumes, but they're trying to bring it down. No matter how powerful and how many powers they have, they're trying to more humanize them. That's why you don't see the big alien-looking people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree and disagree. Chris, you probably, from what I've listened to in your past opinions on things, you probably agree with me that... I mean, you might disagree with me. I don't know. I'll throw this out there. Do you think contemporalizing our comic book heroes is really the best idea, considering we've seen, right? Head shaking now. Nick, what I mean by that is, like, I know you're looking at a more accepting view of this, but I think me and Chris probably share the same feeling that you have to be authentic to the original content. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it looks, but the people that know the stuff are gonna want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you where the contemporalizing comes in. The contemporalizing for me comes in when it comes to how it portrays real life world today, when it comes to things like sexual orientation and those type of things. That I feel like they have to come out and do that. Whatever real world today. But as far as how they're dressed and stuff like that,
the costumes themselves,
right? Yeah, I'd much rather have it be whatever's authentic to whatever the character is.
Mm-hmm. It's like the whole spiel. It's the whole argument about how X-Men has never fit to its original.
Right.
You know, it's
like Wolverine with his yellow and blue.
And regardless of the times, I mean, there's a way to modernize it, and then there's a way to completely veer off course. Mm-hmm. And for me, I've never followed the comic books, Nick, on Inhumans as much as maybe you may have read them, but I know they can't do crazy, ridiculous Medusa hair like we might imagine seeing. We might see that, but what I mean is, but as far as the costumes go, I'm a little disappointed that I don't see that Daredevil full head mask on Black Bolt. I'm kind of, because I've seen posters of him in the comics, and so I'm slightly disappointed that they gave him No offense to Nathan Fillion, but kind of that look, you know?
Well, they might not just have the
him in the suit.
hood on him right now.
Right, okay.
Because that helmet actually is part of what he uses for his power. Because that vocal reverberation, that little U-shaped tuning fork you see on his forehead, he actually uses that to reverberate those sound waves back through his body, enhancing him even farther.
Okay, so you feel overall, in your opinion, you think that this is just like an Origins aesthetic and that we might see progressive changes to their outfits?
I think so. Just like with Daredevil, you didn't see the actual Daredevil costume.
You're right. Yeah, to be fair, you're right.
Till-
Absolutely. Season 1 didn't have the full Daredevil look. You're right.
Until the end.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. I'm not upset.
Because all Inhumans are enhanced, but in the comic books, they actually don't have full access to their power until they are infused with the tetragon gas. You actually saw it in Season 2, the bioweapon they're using that was turning some people into the enhanced and stuff like that.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, well, so there's room for it to grow, and in your opinion, people shouldn't immediately freak out based on the poster picture releases?
Never judge a book by a cover.
Right.
Yeah, that is very true.
And as Chris knows, we only know by the pilot episode, at least.
This is true. So you can get a lot more information afterwards, but
Kinda
like,
with
man,
you, Jessica Jones.
let's hope.
Sorry.
Wait,
What?
What, Matthew? Don't mumble.
Oh.
What, did you not make it past Jessica Jones episode 1?
I didn't make it past episode 3.
Oh.
I couldn't. Nope.
You too, Chris?
Nope.
Nope.
Yep,
Didn't work for
we're
you?
on the same page.
I watched all of them. I had to. Kilgrave.
I'm going to be the mediator and say I didn't see it at all, so you can rip my geek card if you need to.
I did all.
Oh, that's
all of Daredevil. I did all of Luke Cage, and I did all of.
I did.
Iron Fist.
I painfully did Luke Cage.
Uh,
Yes.
I'm one of the people that actually liked Iron Fist.
I'm not gonna rip you on it. Like I appreciate the people who liked it. It wasn't for me, but I totally get the fact that people were into it and it was what they were.
It actually wasn't what the writing they did that made me like it. It's because they tied stuff together that we desperately needed to see.
Awesome.
The writing, because
It was definitely a nice thread for the Defenders. Like it led to the Defenders. You
it
could
puts
see
them
the
together.
thread
Yeah.
that went-
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think we've got some things to look forward to as far as Marvel's television series, and I guess we'll just kind of all hold our breath and see how things turn out.
Right.
But let's move on to our next segment for the night, guys. Let's jump into Gaming Bits. Yada, yada, yada. So, guys, gaming news this week. One particular thing that struck a chord with me
And me.
and Matt, and probably most of us at the table. Nicholas, I don't want to say the name yet. Have you played this franchise that we're about to talk about? Tell me.
Which franchise?
All right, well, we're going to skip you. Darksiders. Have you played Darksiders, bro?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Both of them, or just first
1 and 2?
I didn't play them, and then Xbox is wonderful people. They released them on their free-to-play, like 3 months apart, so I was able to play all of them.
Nice.
I'm cheap. I'm married. I'm always broke.
You know, a lot of us are there. We share the same
are
boat.
there.
You know, even Chris. He knows about budgets.
And I live in Podunk, Oregon.
That being said, though, guys, Darksiders 3
Long anticipated.
was the long-lost, thought-dead franchise actually is still around. It found its way back through the dirt from 6 feet under as we had just left our previous adventures with death.
Death.
Literally.
Yes.
Darksiders 1 and 2. It's actually been about, 4-ish plus years since Darksiders 2? Yeah, Chris
almost.
is nodding yes.
I was going to say almost 5 years. About 5 years. Yeah.
Anyway, 4 years passing, I honestly thought this franchise was dead, and I kind of forgot about it. to be honest. Like, I love 2. I was obsessed with it, 100% of that thing. Number 2 dived a little more into the MMO loot-based style as far as, its inspirations go, as far as how you played the game.
Right.
There was a little more depth to it. Not as driven narratively, as fast-paced as the first one.
Yeah, War was amazing.
Yeah, so you had War.
I like the first one.
Oh, I love the first one. You had War and Ruin, his horse, and the first horseman. Then you had Death and Despair. In the second one. Number 3 just got announced by IGN. I guess there was an Amazon leak prior, so Amazon tends to do. All of us shaking our heads.
Amazon. No.
Anyway, it doesn't have a specific release date yet, but it is confirmed. PlayStation
2018.
2018. Not sure when that year, but PS4, PC, Xbox. All those guys are going to get this. It's 90. What I heard was it's about a good chunk, if not the majority of the crew working on this, is from the original Darksiders series, and kind of what happened. Maybe, Chris, you have more details than I do on this, but Sigil or
THQ.
Vigil was the original dev company working on it. Anyway, yeah. So they kind of dispersed off or kind of fell off the grid after 2. It went through a few ringers. I'll skip over the details for you listeners and viewers out there. And basically, it got relabeled, got brought back to the company THQ, yada yada. Relabeled, renamed, finally, and a lot of those previous guys that thought they had lost their jobs moved on to different projects, actually. Mm-hmm. They had gone to... Chris, do you know what kind of games they went off to?
Yeah, those Vigil guys went off, and they kind of branched off into different games. They were into MMOs and some other stuff before they regrouped and were kind of got together as Gunfire Games, which is based out of Austin, Texas, which is kind of awesome. So what's really nice about the fact that Darksiders has some of the original tech and some of the original brains behind their 1 and 2 series, which is really, really cool. And so the lead protagonist in this game is a female, which caught everybody off guard, but had you played Darksiders 1 and 2, you would have known that. So it wasn't like a surprise, but it was a surprise.
If you look at the concept art, the poster artwork, there's a granted a little more scantily clad, not exactly armor-ridden like War, but there was a female horseman in the concept art from the very beginning, in the cinematics from the first one.
Yes.
Maybe even, I think, mentioned lightly in the second one. And people are like, what? It's a woman? I'm like, come on, guys. This is 2017. Get over it. But
what's kind of awesome is these guys took Darksiders 3 and they played this female protagonist against Darksiders 1, and she kicked their ass.
Right, they did a simulation of this game.
She played them again. Yeah, right. And they played it against Darksiders 2, and she got her ass kicked. So then it was like, okay, well, where's the medium here? Because we have to figure this out for Darksiders 3. They're working on that right now. They're trying to figure that out.
The pacing of the combat, right.
Yep, for sure. And so this game has a lot of the residuals of those first 2 games, which for people who are fans of that series are super thankful for, because the only people who would have that kind of feeling for it are people who worked on it and had care for it and wanted to have this kind of feeling.
Exactly. I don't think we have her horse's name yet, but we do know that she's going by the name of Fury. And kind of like... it's not the biblical 4 Horsemen. It's going off of the franchise that started it. What do we got for the 4th one? I think it's Pestilence.
Pestilence, yes.
Right, but anyway, right. So, female horseman known as Fury. One of the things that I heard from IGN Podcast Unlocked's conversation and Podcast Beyond, Podcast Scoop. They covered it on a couple different shows. One thing they said that the devs are working on is literally the physics of her hair to tie it back to the Inhumans Medusa. Fury is actually going to... Her main weapon is actually a whip that seems to magically extend and retract based on what action or move she's making. But her hair... from what people saw from the trailers and stuff, they said that the one thing that stands out from her character is her hair. And what the devs are trying to work on is figuring out the mechanics of, okay, is the hair going to move based on the combat action that's being taken place, or based on just the natural physical movement of the character? Like, is it going to act like real hair in real life, or is it going to react in an anime style? You know, oh, the hair is going to whip around to the left or right based on whatever action you're doing.
Right.
And Alana Pierce from Podcast Unlocked made this comment. She said, yeah, I mean, she said, I recently asked some devs about why we haven't gotten long hair yet for our avatars on Xbox Live, and it's like, because it's really freaking hard to do. And I was like, it's like, it doesn't seem like that'd be a hard thing to do, but physics with hair in game is actually a very challenging thing.
Nick, you're a PC guy. That tress effects on the hair, even for Tomb Raider, like, that's a big deal.
Right.
Oh, yeah. You get hair that just randomly goes...
Or even clips through the shoulders, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal because it works against every motion that you try to do. So for devs to try to do that, you actually have to try to coincide it, which means you have to have its own physics, and not a lot of people have the money to spend on
the movement
physics.
the movement of stuff hanging off your character is almost more important than the movement of the shadow. It's...
Right, it catches your eye immediately because that's what you're working with. But those tech things aside, the setting for this game is actually taking place in a post-apocalyptic Earth again. We're back on Earth. Number 2 kind of trailed off into a kind of a Norse mythological type world setting. Is a little bit different. And what we saw in the trailer... guys, go watch the trailer if you haven't. Shame on you. It's amazing. It's a little bit of a teaser. It doesn't give away too much. Mm-hmm. But what we do know plot-wise, though, is that our hero War from the first Darksiders game, plot and timeline-wise, is actually the last horseman to deal with the issues. Because what we see in the trailer is he's still locked up in chains when Fury talks to him in the trailer. And I remember reading an article back when the first one came out, or maybe the beginning of the second one being announced, that the timeline for these characters was going to be told like a Tarantino twist, like, okay, we're going to show you the results of the apocalypse, we're going to show you the final struggle, then we're going to dial it back in time and lay out the other 4 horsemen to where eventually, maybe, I don't know, maybe by the 4th one, or if we have a 5th game, who knows what they do with the franchise, where all 4 of them are teaming up for whatever this epic story is going to tell. But Fury takes place, again, combat, visual, technically, it takes place between 1 and 2 as far as the speed and pacing of it, and plot-wise, it's actually a prequel to all of them so far. That's all we know so far on this game. I'm probably good at day 1 when it comes out. We don't have a date yet. It's extremely early, but you guys, we're not the most privileged with dev info, but we're going to be alongside IGN and what they find out, and they're going to be covering Darksiders 3 all month long with videos and content. So go check those guys out. Check their website out. We're going to get a lot more updates to come the next month. Any other thoughts, guys? You excited about this? I am.
Hopefully they have like some stuff for like PAX that we could go and talk to.
Or even E3. I mean, isn't that the next one coming out?
E3 is the biggest.
As far as like gameplay reveals and stuff, yeah.
It is.
Okay. Sorry. Anything else, guys? No. Okay.
I'm excited for the game. That's all.
Yeah, I think we're all anticipating more info as the weeks go. All right, guys, a little bit of a tease in the news for Destiny 2 fans. Most of us at the table... Nick, you haven't jumped into Destiny at all yet, have you?
I played Destiny.
Okay, how much have you played? Have you played most of the first game? Or, I mean,
yeah.
Destiny itself?
I played a good portion of it. I didn't play into the last expansion, but I did play most of the first game.
Oh, okay. Right now, I find myself, and I'll save this for, Sorry, yeah. I'll save my experiences for our last segment of what we've been playing. But I've been diving into Destiny a lot lately because I'm excited about number 2 coming out. So what we heard in the news was a teasing statement. A quote, "A world without light," And Chris, you know a little more about this, so I'm going to throw the mic over to you about what this is, what it might mean as far as the plot for Destiny 2.
Sure. When you're talking about Destiny, light's a loaded term. Like, it can mean a couple of things. And the first thing that it came to me is the light level of a character who's in the Taken King and how you can level that light up. So are they going to continue using the light system? Is that going to disappear? The next thing that came to my mind was the fact that anytime that you have your fundamentally when you're playing Destiny, when you bring up your character, you have your little light, and so is that light dead? So if you look in the trailer or if you look at the screenshot of what the cover for Destiny 2 is, you can see that the ghost is dead. The ghost is down. So is the ghost being that light that's no longer available, is that light gone? So it could have a couple of meanings. Those are the two that came to my mind right away. So are we no longer continuing the light level, or is the light that is considered your ghost, or air quotes little light, gone? Which one of those two things could it mean? But either or, it's not there any longer. That fundamentally changes how Destiny is played, because when you pull your ghost up, that's how you're able to filter through 2 or 3 different things. How you're able to play the game and gain light level with your weaponry, and how you're able to play against other characters, whether it be in single player or PvP, is all based upon that light level. Mm-hmm. So that could change. That it literally changes the entire game, which to me is exciting because Destiny needs to do something different than it did previously.
I would agree with that. When I first heard the no light, I automatically went to like day one when you first started up the game and became alive from the ghost. I am your ghost. I am your light, kind of thing. And I automatically go, great. So ghost is going to be dead, which also means that the traveler is probably going to be gone.
And how are we going to resurrect? Does that mean that death in the game is a lot more concerning? Yeah, maybe. But when my initial thought was, great, we're not going to have a ghost, which means we're not going to be able to see where we're supposed to go in certain levels, because the nav point,
there was a point in the Dreadnought where you actually have to pull out the ghost to see where a jump was to make the jump. And if you don't have that anymore, now it's going to be like a whole new great, you're going to have to just guess.
Or the technology has to change and they have other ways of seeing in the dark.
Right,
possibly.
And we have no idea what this means overall plot-wise, because the light being gone, I've been listening endlessly to ghost stories on a podcast about the Destiny lore. I've been listening to Fireteam Chat from IGN and their thoughts about what this means. And it's funny going back and forth, hearing that, then playing the game for the first... It's not the first time for me, but it's the first time I've dived in deep with it. And so I'm seeing a lot of these connections just fire off my cylinders. With the Cabal and this new Chief Gaul, laying waste to the tower and the vaults being destroyed. This little teasing statement, it doesn't put any fear in my mind as a new player, but from my respective knowing what you guys have gone through, what you guys have played for the last 2-3 years by the time this one comes out, it's a fundamental mechanical change, and it doesn't mean that, because if Bungie's known for anything, they're known for being the king of addictive gameplay, especially with Master Chief through Destiny, and even if Destiny didn't have the plot, it had the physical mechanics that hooked you in. Mm-hmm. And I'm not dismissing the social aspect, because that's the main thing that carries Destiny through is the social aspect.
Right.
Fighting with your brothers. But the gameplay, you can't dismiss the fact that the gameplay, as Bungie knows the magic of making a good shooter. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be very interesting to see that you guys strive so hard for that level 40, and then boom, okay, now let's work on that light level and get it maxed. what are they going to do different? You know, and the thing with the ghost being dead, I've heard mentions, or maybe in the trailers, or I don't know what I'm missing here for my explanation, but I heard that the ghosts, or ghosts in general, aren't going to be completely gone, and I'm not sure where I got that from, but it's still, we don't know completely what that means, or especially with the light being gone.
Yeah.
So, that's my perspective on it. I'm excited to see what they do with that, and Chris, you having been a player in the past, and Matt, you guys are both interested and excited.
Yeah, I've already got it pre-ordered.
Which, being a content share with Matt, means I do too.
I've got the digital deluxe version.
But to be fair, I actually, like, if I ever lost your licensing, I would actually dump $60 on this, because I'm actually that interested right now. I'm a late bloomer. A lot of podcasters I've heard from, I've listened to Mulehorn Gaming gush about their Destiny adventures. I've listened to you guys at Geekologist Radio talk about your past adventures, and Matt's always been there. I've been with him since day one, but I never got completely invested in the game, and I'm now jumping in, and I find myself in that new Destiny addiction phase where I'm like, okay, one more mission, and it's 3 a.m. Crap, I gotta go to bed. You know? Like, and I haven't even gotten to the point where I can actually full-blown raid yet, or do strikes.
Right.
Like, I can't imagine my addiction level. I know, Chris. I can't imagine my addiction level.
Good luck, bro, because, like, once you get into the raiding mode, forget about it. 4 or 5 a.m. comes really fast.
I remember hearing your stories about that, yeah. So
especially now, since now they upped all of the raids to be light level 390.
And brought back a lot of classic runs.
Yes.
Especially,
Voltaglass and Crota. Well, I could care less about Crota, but Voltaglass,
all of it's there.
That's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the aspect of Destiny 2, a lot of the people, like, one of the top things that a lot of the community is looking to see if Bungie will do is if there's going to be an actual, like, look for group thing inside Destiny 2.
Yeah, Halo's matchmaking system fully incorporated right off the back.
Basically, like,
FLG.
Yeah, to where, like, granted, I've actually played with Chris a few times on Destiny, like, because we actually came from Dads of Destiny, which is another plug for something else anyways. When Destiny first came out, I had really nobody to play with, and then I found out that my buddy Jeremy, A.K.A. Damian Nash of Geekologist Radio, was in a big thing of...
Big group, big clan for Destiny. Yeah.
And I was like, sign me up, I'm down. I don't have anybody to play with. I like playing with people, and freaking, that's how I met a lot of the Geekologist people and Dads of Destiny, it was Dads of Destiny.
That's where they started, and then they went.
When you hop on Slack now, it's Uprising. Those guys are like they're playing something like literally every moment. So like you ask to hop in a group, and you're in it in 2 seconds. It's pretty fast.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And I wanted to say something about that community. Like, the Destiny community is huge. And they are very open arms as far as, like...
They take anyone in.
If you're new, they will show you the ropes of, like, what to do. And take you through raids. And that's... Yeah.
They carry you through the...
I don't want to...
Go ahead.
Yeah, not down playing MMOs, but, like, if you enter into groups like Dota and such, the barrier to entry is a lot more difficult than it is for Destiny. Mm-hmm. The way people are embracing is a lot different than you entering those MMOs, which Destiny is considered sometimes at some points, air quotes, an MMO, but people are a lot more apt to help you out, get you started, try to help you kind of Sherpa you through in order to, you know, let you get up to a level where you can play with other people more so than other groups in that similar genre.
Yeah.
It's a well-built, inviting community, for sure.
So if you haven't played Destiny, if you're new to Destiny, look us up. We will help you out. Destiny 2, I'm day one. You heard it. Chris is day one. Joe's obviously day one.
I am almost 3 years late.
The reason why I actually haven't gone in depth in Destiny is because I haven't found anyone to play with.
Well, and now we've brought you into the fold, and you're finally current gen with Xbox One.
Yeah, that was also
Nick,
another thing.
I have been for the last year.
What? I know. Nick,
I have been for the last year.
Let's just make this final point on that. And speaking to both our viewers and listeners, and to you, Nick. Not you, Nick. You to you, Nicholas.
Eunuch. Jesus.
Nope, still got it.
He's there.
Nicks are invited as well. We don't discriminate. What I'm saying is, no, for the longest time, I felt the same way. Because, dude, Matt, granted, it's a 45-minute drive, but Matt's a lot closer. I meet up with him almost every week. And I still stayed away from jumping into it. And I kept hearing on other podcast groups I listen to and love, they're like, right now is the best time to jump in because Bungie has all their DLC out. It's so much more improved from vanilla Destiny, blah, blah, blah. I heard the spiel over and over again, and I never wanted to. And it's a mix of we're in this group of like media talking individuals. We talk about the stuff that's new. We talk about, it's the new hype. It's Destiny 2, so we should talk about it. And it's a mix of all those things that I was like, you know what? Okay. I just randomly was like, okay, I need a break from, I was doing, other games, and I was like, I need a break. Jumped in. And I will agree with all those people that said it's not too late right now. Yes, I know. We have a date, September 8th for Destiny 2, and that from all intents and purposes we've heard you're starting pretty much brand new, fresh when you jump into that. But I'm not 3 years invested, and I'm also not afraid to just enjoy what's sitting there. And yeah, I'm not going to plug in 1,000+ hours like some of these people at this table have.
Oh. All right.
But anyway, sorry about the tangents. Check it out, guys, and be prepared for September because Destiny 2 is coming like a storm. I'm going to be on. I'm bringing Nick on.
Yes,
Nick is going to be joining the fold with us. And I kind of basically covered our last little segment for gaming. As far as what we've been playing this week, I've pretty much gushed about Destiny, and that's what I've been doing. I did a little bit of Diablo 3 to take a break from Mass Effect. I was doing Mass Effect Andromeda. I was doing a Let's Play series about it, and like I said in our last podcast, I told Jeff and Paul, I'm like, guys, I've been trying to play it to enjoy it. I've also been trying to record it, and I also have to re-watch it to make sure the recording is good. So I've put 3 times into the same little section of content. It's very easy to burn out on a game doing that. So
I'm part of that sliver of people that haven't even touched Mass Effect at all.
I own it, and I've played literally.
I mean, any of them.
You know what? I'm not going to dock the game by saying
1 hour and 27 minutes.
That don't worry about it. As a Mass Effect fan myself, I would say save it for backlogs. Don't burn it away or dismiss it entirely. Come back to it someday. Check it out someday. Don't dismiss it entirely.
No, I bought the first game, and then it didn't work on my system because it was a bad disc. And then I'm just like, no, done. And haven't tried it since.
Oh, man, you missed 10 years of excellent content. But that being said...
Yeah.
That being said, so I needed a break. I picked up Diablo 3 again. I put a lot of time into that in the past. And now I'm on a Destiny kick. That's where I'm at. So I'm going to throw it around the group as far as just to conclude our episode tonight, what we've all been playing. So, Chris, I just want to throw it in your corner real quick. What kind of stuff have you been playing?
A lot of independent games. I've been playing What Remains of Edith Finch. It was an Annapurna game that was done by Giant Sparrow. I talked about it on Geekologist. Love this game to death. It's a walking sim. If you played Firewatch or games in that genre, you're going to love What Remains of Edith Finch. 2-hour game, $20. It's well worth its weight in gold. I played Little Nightmares, which is in the vein of Inside or games of that nature. So a puzzle game that's not quite as complicated. Done by a group that's based out of Europe, and those guys took kind of what Inside did, made the graphics a lot cleaner, made the puzzles a lot less harder. So for people that are into intricate puzzles, you might not be into this game, but if you're into the graphics and story, it has that same kind of feel. I've been playing Mario 8 Kart Deluxe on my Nintendo Switch, which I plugged in and docked for my kids to play. They were all in. They played it on the Wii, and you have an opportunity to play from Wii, 3DS, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's a blast. I was getting my ass kicked by a bunch of 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds in this game, which says all you need to know about Mario Kart for me. Because I'm not like it's not really my jam, but like they were into it, and they were like able to hit left trigger and right trigger and kind of skid past areas, so that was kind of cool. And I just purchased Nier Automata, which by all accounts and purposes has been a top at least 3 or 4 game this year. And man, is that game freaking cool. Like, I had a blast. I'm about 2 hours into it. I know Fouts, BFouts82, who's with us on Geekologist Radio, he and I share a PS account. And so he gets to have opportunities to play some things. I get to opportunities to play some things. And this game is just so cool, man. It goes down such a rabbit hole with the storyline. And this type of game, you beat it, and then you have to play it 3 or 4 other times because there's A, B, C, and D as far as the conclusions on the storyline. So super duper cool. Just keeping it short, very, very fun. And I can't recommend that enough as well.
Mr. Nick, what have you been playing, sir?
Nicholas.
I do a lot of the free-to-play, the Xbox releases. Star Trek Online, I was a fan of it when it was on a computer. And they're finally catching up on the Xbox, where you're getting the duty officer stuff, so that's pretty cool that they're actually doing that. One of the frees from Xbox was Rise, Son of Rome. Mm-hmm. And that was actually
Rise,
really involving game.
Yes.
It kind of felt like God of War, and then you had the whole military aspect behind it. You can do the whole phalanx maneuver, and it was great.
Nice.
I concur, sir. Rise was really good. I played it when it first came out, and it was one that I almost 100%ed, but like a lot of the expert stuff, no.
Walking away.
Yeah.
And between that, I fill my time with the League of Legends.
League of Legends.
Yeah. Yeah, Rise was great, man. Like, I bought that when it originally, like, to your point, I got it when it first came out. And then if you replay it now, the graphics on it are still sick. Like, it's still one of Xbox's top games as far as graphics are concerned.
It was brutal.
It was a masterpiece. It really was. And it gets harder and harder. The farther you go along in that game, the harder it gets, which some games do that, but this game takes it to, like, another level. So it was a lot of fun. Like, I really love Rise.
And if you actually follow the history on it, they actually followed really closely.
Yep.
On a lot of the big battles and stuff. But then, obviously, they took a little bit of a tangent. But
yeah.
This game deserved a sequel if it wasn't for Crytek and all of the stuff that went along with it. So this is a really, really good game, and this showcases what the Xbox One originally could do.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice, very nice. Matthew, last on the list, I believe.
Yeah, I've actually been playing a couple of games. More recently, I've been playing Forza Horizon 2. A little short story about me. Racing games was actually like the first things that I actually used to buy back in the day.
Well, based on your classic car love for the Fast and the Furious, I cannot imagine.
Yeah. But I've been playing online in that game, and it's still an amazing game. I haven't bought Forza Horizon 3, but I think that's a purchase in the future. I've also been playing Destiny a little bit here and there. Next week is actually going to be Iron Banner for PvP, and you'll probably see me on there a lot.
Snap.
When I get back from my cruise. And Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. This last weekend they had a weekend game called Prop Hunt, and literally in this game type, they would make you a prop in the background. So a bicycle, a tire, a stop sign, or what may you. And you had to hide. And you had 30 seconds in the beginning of the game to hide, and then the other team had to come and find you. and I have a few clips of me being like right out in the open, and nobody found me. So
that's awesome.
Nice.
It really, like, if they made that into an actual like game type, you would be seeing me that on a lot. But it's not really something that they made into like a full thing. But
well, they did zombies. I mean, come on.
Prop hunters.
Random objects. That'd be fun.
It's freaking hilarious. Like, you little garbage bag walking around kind of thing. Like, you're literally these things, and you pop yourself there, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Nice. Well, guys, it has reached that point in both our show and the hour of the night. I see Mr. Chris has yawned a couple times. I think it's time. No apologies, dude. It's late for everyone. Later for you than all of us.
Or earlier.
And I commend you.
That too.
For being on here. Please.
I want to throw that out there too.
It's been fun,
man.
Yeah,
Chris, thanks for joining us on the episode tonight. Here's our closeout. Chris, where can, outside of this podcast, where can people find you, and what kind of things do you want to plug?
We're at Geekologist Radio. I'm also on Twitter and pretty much everything else at Twowolvzz, Twolvzz. And you can find me there.
Very nice, very nice. Nick, aside from being a brand new member with us, do you have a Twitter tag or anything that people can join you on? Xbox tag, gamer tag, or something?
Both Twitter and Xbox are the same. It's Thanatos, DB87, THANATOS, DB87, on both. So.
Nice. And viewers and listeners, all these links we'll put down in the description.
Yes,
Matt, where can people find you?
Twitter's MattmanOrigin. Lately, now people can actually be seeing me on Beam as L_Doozer_L.
Oh, snap.
It's basically my gamer tag, but without the underscores. And as always, there's Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. I'm always around.
And guys, you can find me on my personal Twitter at Mr. Bluestreak. That's MrBluStreek. You can also find me manning the Nerdentials Twitter at Nerdentials. Guys, if you want to drop us a line, write some comments or feedback, you can also write us on our email, nerdentials@gmail.com. In a slight extension to all of this, you can find all of us, including Chris himself, on queuedupmedia.com. That's our group website. We've got a lot of collaborators, content creators. You can go find a whole bunch of us on there, articles, links, Twitter accounts, you name it. We're all over the place on there, queuedupmedia.com. Guys, anyway, it's been a pleasure, Nick, having you on, and Chris, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
And Chris, we here at Nerdentials like to sign out as a group to be a little weird or different, if you will. So Nick, me, and Matt will do it, and you can join with us. As always, nerds, we'll see you on the other side.
On the other
there
side.
There it is. Hey, you filled in for Jeff Barry. Thank you.
On the side that matters.
On the sides, other sides, blah, blah, blah. Jeff.
From the inside.
So would we be the other side?
Yeah, something like that. I thought it was modern age.
I thought you were doing something different. I'm like, man, I know this one. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Every podcast, every YouTube channel, Nerdentials, that's what we do.